Welcome to episode 192 of the Campus Comics Cast. I gave blood a couple hours ago, so if I pass out, just keep on going without me. By the way, this is Scott O Positive Reed, and I'm joined on this episode by
Mike, also O Positive Atchison.
And I'm Shad, a negative Schubert.
Shad, I told you about being so negative.
That's right. It's time to start talking pre-orders, unless somebody has something else they'd like to discuss or bring up. Nudge, nudge, Mike Atchison.
Well, Scott, how fortuitous that you just brought that up or gave me that segue, because I was wanting to maybe let the listeners know that if they would like to listen to a little bit more of 1/3 of the Campus Comics Cast, i.e. me, I'm actually a co-host or a guest on the Longbox Review with Eric. We recorded back in June. He just had me on to kind of talk about both Campus Comics Cast and Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow, and he surprised me at the end with something that an idea he got from us, trivia.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, and I totally face planted on the trivia. Unnecessarily so. I think there was a couple. I might have got 2 out of the 6 or so, or 8.
Oh, no.
And on a whim, believe it or not, he was asking me, at the end there, how can people get a hold of me? And I gave them the Mike at comicshoproadshow.com email address. And I said, you know what? Let's just make this official. The first person that sends me an email to that address will win a Bronze Age comic featuring a character they like the most. So, sure enough, I got my very first email from Charlie.
Hey, bribery works.
From a guy named...
From who?
From a gentleman named Charlie. And,
okay.
Yeah, and Batman's his favorite character, so I went to the old dusty vault of comics I have and pulled out actually not 1, but 2 Bronze Age books, and also one of those Just Imagine Stan Lee books, the Batman one. So I'm shipping them his way probably tomorrow. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun discussion, and
nice.
And so it's Longbox Review, so I definitely recommend people check it out and subscribe.
Yeah, the name of the episode is A Conversation with Mike from Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow. I don't see an episode number on it, but it is just longboxreview.com, or just search for it in your favorite podcast app.
Right.
We ready to talk pre-orders?
I think so.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so next phase catalog. I do not have anything until DC, so apologies to Ahoy and AWA. Nothing really jumped out at me until DC. Anything for either of you?
No, I'm going straight into DC as well.
I will, just as I mentioned, because I figured one of you guys would say it, Ahoy has Wrong Earth Dead Ringers number 4, which I believe is maybe the last issue of this little mini-series on that, and we obviously like Wrong Earth, so.
Yeah,
I think most of the time they go 5, so I was thinking it was
is it 5? Okay.
next to the last. They don't say. I don't know. I have in my mind that all the Wrong Earth series, except for the one-shots, go 5 issues for some reason.
Gotcha.
So.
Oh, I take it back. CEX is actually before DC, so I do have something.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
I've got. I'm trying.
Yes, Mike. C comes in the alphabet before D.
Letters are hard. Let's see. I'm looking at a book called Lifeboat, and it's basically a 12-page little mini book. It's $2.99, which really caught my eye right off the bat. And then I seen it was 12 pages. I thought, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's written by Mason Mendoza, illustrated by Leandro Rizzo, who also did the cover, and it's a story about the moments before particle decay unwinds the atomic fabric of the universe as we know it. So the people in this spaceship, which is the lifeboat, are basically hanging on to existence at the very end. So I'm interested to see how much they jam into a 12-page story. It's just a one-shot story that I can, as far as I can tell, but the art looks pretty decent, and I thought at $2.99 that wouldn't be too much, putting me out too much.
12 pages. That seems a little pricey for 12 pages,
Yeah,
but still,
yeah, for the page, price per page, it's not great,
Yeah.
but still.
Of course, us old timers when we used to get those special 25-cent issues, and yeah. So, all right. Anything else before DC?
Nope.
All right. Page 37, which I believe is the first book in the DC catalog. Mike, here's your chance.
I know this is. I have a lot of notes written down here. The very first one has me probably more excited than any book that's been solicited in a couple years. It's finally a return of the Justice League. We kind of knew this. We've known this was coming, but it's called Justice League Unlimited, written by Mark Waid and Dan Mora, and it's basically taken a page from the animated feature of the same name, and it sounds like it's literally going to be, when they ask who's going to be in the league, they say everybody. So there's, of course, there's going to be. I like the fact there's a lot of things I'm liking already. I look at the cover and I see Captain Atom. I haven't seen him in a book in quite a while, and of course There's probably going to be a core set of members, highlighted, but there's also it's going to really take advantage of the really rich history that DC has and all of the heroes. Now, I'm not a fan of some of the anti-heroes maybe making their way into the team. I mean, like Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and Catwoman. I'm not really for that, but it's not a big deal. I'm just excited to see this. They've got, I think Black Lightning is, it may say later in the other solicit in his book, but he's going to have a particular role, as will the Question. So I like the idea that different characters, different heroes are going to have specific roles in the league, which lends to that. What I like about the Justice League is that it's always been pretty structured. So yeah, that's my first book that I see to get excited about.
Shad, you want to add anything?
No, I agree with Mike though, that I like that there are some certain roles that are going to be played, because I am later on excited about the Question book that's coming up.
I had that book marked down as well. And the only additional comment I have about this Justice League book, and this is primarily for Mike, but I'm Shad, you'll have to go along with it as well, is if everybody wants to read it for a future episode, I would be happy to read the first issue for a future episode and be sure I get it ordered. So all right, so consider it done, I guess.
Yeah, it's decided.
All right, so Mike, be sure you unmute yourself next time you need to talk. Page. Okay, my next thing's on 40.
Same.
Okay. My only comment, Absolute Superman number 1, I believe this was solicited last month, so this is already delayed, is what I'm making the assumption here. The other Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman made it to issue 2. This is still going to be at issue 1. So what else you want to add there, Shad?
It never seems good when they have an all new initiative and one of the books is already late.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying as heck. And I don't know if it's Jason Aaron as the writer, or the Rafa Sandoval. If Sandoval is slow, I don't remember him being so whenever he was the artist on the Green Lantern book. But who knows?
Just as a side note, I was at a small convention at Evansville, Indiana over the weekend. John K. Snyder was there, but Kyle Starks, actually, he wasn't set up there. He just came through. His uncle was actually there selling comics, and I got to talk to him for quite a while. But one of the things we started talking about was, like, when he primarily writes. He's obviously an artist as well, but he primarily writes. And one of the things that happens is a lot of writers struggle with when they provide the artist the whatever it is that they're going to give them so that the artist can start drawing the book. It's like, well, if you give them too much, then the artist can get offended because it's like you're telling them how they need to draw and do art on the page.
Yeah.
And then, but if you give them too little, then sometimes you don't get anything like what you imagined or pictured this particular book was going to look like.
Interesting.
And I even asked him the question, since he is a very talented artist, did you ever provide breakdowns or anything for the artist? And what he told me is that he never gives them to the artist, but he has them available if they want them. So, but I just wonder if this is one of those cases where there's some miscommunication of vision between the writer and the artist, or whatever the case may be. So,
Right.
Yeah, I always kind of those are interesting because I listen to a lot of like podcasts that are artists and writers talking about stuff, and you're right, that does seem to be a thing that they always talk about, tripping them up, is how much direction to give and what is kind of insulting, and it depends on, every artist is different too. Some of them love it broken down completely, some of them like more free form, and yeah, it just, until you get that rhythm worked out, it's kind of flying in this weird thing.
So either this has been an age-old problem, and we just never heard about it because we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
Or people are just a little more sensitive these days. So I wonder which it is.
Well, you got to remember with the Marvel method, though, it was just basically the artist was actually doing the bulk of the work.
Yeah.
Because you'd have just that real basic idea given, the artist would run with it, and then whoever was writing would come back and kind of fill in the story to make it work. And that's how we ended up with like the Silver Surfer, because apparently Stan Lee said something about somebody coming to destroy the Earth, and Jack Kirby said, well, if he's that powerful, he's going to have a herald, and boom, he injects the Silver Surfer into it. Yeah. So I guess it's just a matter of the leeway that is provided. But I feel like especially really more for indie books, where it's like the creator owner has a stronger vision.
Yeah.
There might be some more of that,
Sure.
nitpicky stuff going on. But
it's always interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was so awesome to talk to him for, like I said, quite a while. Just, just standing in the aisle, Let's see. My next thing's not till page 49.
I'm at 42.
Okay.
So, Detective Comics 1091. Now, forgive me if I'm mentioning us the second book in this new run. Was the last issue the first one by Tom Taylor and Mikkel Henin?
I don't remember. I can't remember if I pointed out that we had a new team or that that Ram V was done last month. But I remember we talked about it.
Well, I remember. I guess what's different now is I see the big all-in label, which, by the way, is the follow-up to the whole Absolute storyline. All In is the big initiative right now, and so I see that label slapped on here. But the creators of Tom Taylor and Mikkel Henin, they're two of my favorites. I love Hanin's art, nice and clean. Taylor just seems to have superheroes down, so I'm anxious to see. We reviewed, didn't we? Didn't we talk about one or two of the issues of the Ram V Detective Comics?
I think we did the first volume.
That's right.
Reviewed the first volume.
And it was, that whole gothic version was enjoyable, but I don't know. This is probably more to my liking. No offense to the other creators, but yeah, I wanna pick this up, and I'll probably do it again. I picked up Ram V for about 4 or 5 issues, and I tapered off, and here I am again.
Also, a new villain.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's a new villain.
Oh,
I'm still on 49.
I'm not.
I am
53.
52.
Okay, so 49. This is just an observation. So apparently, this is DC's backside page, because we basically have Catwoman from the rear and Nightwing from the rear. So depending upon your personal tastes, you could pick one of these as the backside page for Catwoman 70 and Nightwing 120.
Oh my gosh, that's the truth.
That's funny. I would never picked up on
Sorry,
that.
I couldn't pass it up. I probably should have, but I couldn't. I couldn't let it go. So. All right, 52.
52.
Anything for 52?
52. No, that's one I had. It's Shad, you had it too. Go ahead.
I
Why
had
don't you talk
53.
about
No,
it?
you're good.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
okay. 52.
Okay,
Batgirl number.
I'm going to go
Okay.
Batgirl number one. Sorry, I'm going to steal this one
All
from
right,
you,
all
Mike.
right.
So we have a new Cassandra Cain series. Cassandra Cain is my favorite iteration of Batgirl. So I am definitely going to be picking this book up and probably monthly for a little bit. I am definitely concerned about, the voice that is going to be given, quote unquote voice that's going to be given. I'm not familiar with this creative team. I do like the look of the cover, of the main A cover. I'm assuming, no, it's not even the main artist, so we don't really get any preview pages of what the art's going to look like. But they are kind of going back to the roots of the character because Cassandra is going to be involved with Lady Shiva, who, spoilers, is Cassandra Cain's mother.
What?
So, and yeah, I know. I'm sorry for ruining that for you, Mike. But yeah, so it's kind of going back again to the origins of the character, and I hope that they are able to present this character correctly on the page.
Yeah, I'm with you there. This is a must-buy for me. I just, the Batman family. I remember when it was just Robin and the original Batgirl. I can't even say original. The one from the '60s, Barbara Gordon. They were the core Batman family. And then you had Man-Bat, and then you had, the slow expansion of Robins and Batgirls, and it's okay for a while, but once in a while it becomes overwhelming. But anyway, if you want to start lining up all the Batgirls, I would agree this is my favorite Batgirl, even though I think I love Barbara Gordon as a character, just more so in her Oracle persona.
And I'm the same way. I like Barbara Gordon as Oracle, and I like Cassandra Cain as Batgirl.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I even read that entire, was that early 2000s or 90s Cassandra Cain series, like in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and it was up and down, depending upon if the writer really, understood the character, or at least understood how I understood the character.
Right. Right.
Shad 53.
53 is the last issue of Batman Dark Age, which I'm looking forward to reading as a whole. Now that it's all going to be out, and this is one of a lot of series that are ending in this catalog, and actually all across the board, not just DC. And so I'm assuming that next month we're gonna get an influx of even more new books, because there's quite a few dropping off.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I'm with you
Well,
there. I read the first couple issues of that, and then it seemed like there was a delay or something, and it's something I want to read all the way through because I really love the first couple issues. But
Good, cool.
I want to enjoy it as a whole whenever this one comes in.
It would be nice if they didn't feel like they had to replace every single book with another book, that they could.
Yeah.
How you got to keep it going, I guess, right?
I guess so. So yeah, I'm on 54.
Okay.
61's my next one.
Okay, so 54, we got Green Arrow 19, just a new villain alert. I'm not super excited about this particular villain because it apparently is just some random serial killer. They probably could have just taken one of Batman's random serial killers and threw it in here. But there is a brand new villain for Green Arrow, issue number 18.
Yeah, Chris Condon sounds familiar, but I cannot place where I know that person to be a writer. I just hope
Me neither.
that he picks up and does well, just as Joshua Williamson did that first 16 or 17 issues.
Then 58.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you got this one?
I can, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you weren't planning on it, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, I was. I just
Okay, go ahead.
Black Lightning #1. It's not very often you get a new Black Lightning book. And in fact, there's probably only been the original 70 series and maybe a short series in the 90s. Otherwise, he just appeared in The Outsiders and in the Justice League and other books. But this is absolutely pulling from the TV show. Jefferson Pierce has the look of the actor in the TV show, and he's also bringing in his daughters, at least one of his daughters, the one that plays Thunder, I believe, Anissa Pierce. And what I like especially is that he's going to have a role with the Justice League as the new MetaHuman Outreach Initiative is what he's in charge of. So he'll be going out looking for metahumans that have powers and they don't know necessarily how to rein them in or how to handle them, and he's going to maybe mentor them in some way. So I think that's a pretty cool concept, and he's a teacher by trade anyway, so I think it's a perfect fit.
It almost feels like it should be titled Black Lightning Family instead of just Black Lightning.
That's true. Yeah.
And I was assuming both of his daughters were going to be in here, but you're right. It only talks about Thunder. So I just saw the cover and saw the two female characters and assumed it was both of his daughters. But you may be right. It only mentions one in the solicits.
Yeah, for now. But I mean, who knows? It could grow.
All right, 59. I think Shad should take this one first.
Yes.
Oh gosh, I don't have a lot of interest in this except for that it's Jeff Lemire writing, but
Okay.
I don't know the JSA very well, and I typically I'm a Jeff Lemire creator owned guy much more than I am a licensed property guy.
So you're saying we just think we know you?
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah. You just think you know, but you have no idea.
I apologize. I do want to mention two things about this book, and then I'm going to hand it over to Mike. Number one, I love this Lemire variant cover wraparound where you've got like a good portion of the JSA pictured on the front and the back. That one is super cool. And as I mentioned, I was at a small convention in Evansville, Indiana over the weekend, and there is a 1 in 50 variant cover here by John K. Snyder, which he was one of the guests at that Evansville Museum show over the weekend. I got to get some stuff signed by him, listen to a presentation, and there you have it. He pops up right here on the cover of JSA number 1. I probably will not swing ordering this since it's a 1 in 50.
Yeah.
That's going to be a pricey one just to get, but I did want to point it out.
Yeah.
And he has some covers coming up for like Suicide Squad or Peacemaker related properties as well. So.
Oh, cool. So yeah, I mean, outside of what you two have already said, I don't know that I have that much. I mean, the JSA is very much, if the Justice League is an organization, the JSA is more of a family, and they have a lot of legacy characters going, starting with the originals like Alan Scott Green Lantern and Jay Garrick Flash and the Iron Man and Wildcat, but you also see some of the legacy characters, the Dr.
Jade and Ebony?
Jade and Obsidian.
Obsidian.
Yep. And also Dr. Midnight, which is the trying to think. She first appeared in, I want to say, Infinity Inc. or All-Star Squadron back in the 80s, to be honest. I'm trying to think of her alter ego. But anyway, it sounds like it's going to be a mixture of them. And I think if, Chad, you of all people know this, that Lemire's strong points is characterization and building relationships and really, just that old poignant family thing. I can just see him really, this being the title for him. So I'm really excited about seeing this.
And I'll definitely check it out. I try to always read anything that he's doing. Like I know he's also doing, maybe it's Absolute Flash or All In Flash. Well, Absolute Flash. I think it hasn't been announced yet, but I think he's doing that or somewhere in that realm that I think is going to be announced maybe next month. It's probably one of our new number ones. So I always try to at least try him out. I remember reading his Hawkeye run, and the first time I read it, I was just like, I don't get it. It's not. I'm not enjoying it at all. And then I came back and read it years later and enjoyed it much more that time.
Yeah.
Page 60. Black Canary number 1, Black Canary Best of the Best number 1, written by Tom King, art by Ryan Sook. The one thing, I got two things I want to mention about this book. First is not only do we get Lady Shiva in Batgirl number 1, but we also get Lady Shiva here in Black Canary. So she is going to be, very present in the DC universe this month. And there is a 1 in 50 variant cover by an artist named Dan Hip. I did not know anything about this artist until the Marvel Snap game, and he's one of the more popular artists for variant cards in Marvel Snap. So he is now getting a cover. I don't know if he has other. I mean, like I said, it's Marvel Snap that he's known for, but here he is showing up on the cover of DC. I don't know if he's done any other cover work for anything else before this, but this is the first time I remember seeing his name in the catalog.
Yeah, that's interesting. Ryan Sook is. I'm glad it's just a 6-issue miniseries because he's pretty slow and methodical too on his art. So I'm not sure how well he'd keep up, but yeah, I think you got a good creative team here and one of my favorite characters.
Shad, I know you already mentioned 61.
Yeah, 61 is the question all along the Watchtower, number 1. And this sees Renee Montoya as the question with her new role in the Justice League Watchtower as the kind of security, and this is a murder mystery book. I don't know how long this will last. It seems like the premise comes out of the gate like it's a miniseries, but it doesn't. It isn't solicited that way. So will it continue to be murder mystery after murder mystery, or will it be done after 6 issues? Who knows?
Yeah, this one deserves our attention for the title alone.
Yes.
Yeah, with the coming back of the Watchtower and then using all along the Watchtower.
Yeah.
So not only
That's a good
fans of the song, but also fans of Battlestar Galactica as well. So
Yeah, some of the images I'm seeing of the Watchtower are impressive. I mean, I love team headquarters anyway, and the satellite has always been my favorite, especially the old, 70s and 80s satellite. But this version of the Watchtower it's also a satellite. That's so, when you look at whatever image I seen, it was just like it took up the sky. It was huge. It was that close of an orbit, I guess, but it looked pretty darn cool. So I'm excited about that. And also, this is another instance where one of the Justice Leaguers is going to have a very specific role in that she is the chief of security, basically. So I think that's cool.
and this A cover is just awesome. I just love this with the old West feel with the trench coat kind of flying up the back. It looks super cool. So
Absolutely.
page 62, Shazam issue number 17. Okay, going back to that convention at Evansville, I watched a presentation on kind of the history of Captain Marvel, and actually a buddy of mine was putting it on, and he said that this current Shazam run is very, very good. So I probably at some point should pick up and not try to read like maybe the first trade's worth, just to see how it goes. But they have Tawny Tiger there in the in the background of the cover as well. So
Yeah, Josie Campbell took over a couple issues ago, I think, for Mark Waid.
was it Mark Waid? Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know her very well. She's written a few things that I've read, but I can't put my thumb on whether I think she's, where she lands in the grand scheme of things as a writer. But yeah, seeing Talkie Tawny on there on the cover is pretty cool.
My next thing's on 66.
I'm not till 71.
I'm past that as well.
I'm just mentioning this. Batman Santa Claus Silent Night Returns #1. Last month, we got glow-in-the-dark covers. This month, we get evergreen scented variant covers. So DC pulling out all of the gimmicks on their covers here the last couple of months.
Heck yeah, absolutely.
I actually bought last year's Batman Santa
Oh, did you?
crossover. Yeah, with the scratch and sniff. And it was, I was really kind of afraid to smell it because it looked like it was going to be his breath, and it was kind of a minty smell. So I didn't read it yet. I don't know if I ever will.
So I'm 76 is my next
Okay,
thing.
71. I mean, get to scrolling furiously here. Okay, 71 it's the Milestone Universe, the Shadow Cabinet #1. This is the first issue of 4 and it's 40 pages for only $5, so it's a pretty good bang for your buck. And it's bringing, it sounds like, all of those characters from Milestone into one story. And I read a few of those books, a couple years ago, Icon and Rocket, and I know Shadow Cabinet was actually a book back in the 90s, but I'm going to pick this up again and see how, all these characters work together. So I think, yeah, I think that's a given for me.
Was Duo a Milestone?
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you read that one
Yeah,
as well.
but it was a new
yeah.
character, or
Yes.
he and she. It's
Yes.
a guy,
Thus, duo.
man and woman. Yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of merged consciousness. Yeah, yeah. Duo, duh. It's not trio. It's not singular.
No. 73.
73 is John Constantine Hellblazer, Dead in America, number 11. We are finally at the end of this series that I have every issue of and have not read. But go figure.
I've never heard of that happening before.
I know it doesn't happen.
No,
it's a rare occasion that something like that happens. But it is featuring. It's got Swamp Thing's in there. Dream is in there, with it being a Sandman universe book. Perhaps Death, as they're kind of teasing in there. And really, with this ending, makes me wonder what's next for the Sandman universe, because it seems as though they've kind of held on to a title pretty consistently with that Sandman universe banner. So I was excited about this when it came out, and then didn't read it. But I have been really good about generally reading the Sandman universe books when they're coming out. So we'll see what's next.
Okay, I'm up to 78.
I got 79.
So I got 76.
Okay.
So we have Looney Tunes number 281. So I made the mistake of searching for volleyball, and lo and behold, we get an intense game of volleyball in this particular issue. So guess who is now forced to order Looney Tunes number 281? This guy.
Proud owner of it, yeah.
That's right. Yes. So I will put that with my Legion of Superheroes book I picked up over the weekend, because it has on that first panel the Goliath spiking the volleyball on that front panel.
Yeah.
So it will go in there as well. So
Talking about Colossal Boy.
Colossal Boy. I'm sorry. Yes, I got my Marvels and you got your Marvel and my DC. Sorry about that. Apologies to all of the Legion fans for my colossal mistake.
Okay. Well, speaking of Colossal, on page 78, is it my turn or is it Shad's?
It's yours. Go.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay. On page 78, we have the facsimile edition of one of the oversized 1970s limited collector's editions. It's number 37. It's a Batman featured tabloid, and it's, like I said, it's one of those big treasury / tabloids, and I don't know that I'll get it, but I do recommend anyone who doesn't have the original get it. I have the original. I've bought a couple of the newer ones just to have a nice, clean, new copy. I don't know that I will with this one, but it's really a cool way to read some of the reprints on great big pages, and you can really enjoy the art, and it's very nostalgic also for people of our age. Not you, Shed.
On the next page, on page 79, is the DC Compact Comics edition of Kingdom Come. Have you guys seen the compact editions of anything come out?
No.
I saw it
I've
in
seen
the
them
wild.
advertised, but I haven't seen one.
Yeah, I saw one in the wild this weekend, and I was like, all right, I like this. Like, it's a 5.5 by 8.5 book, and it is. I was reading some reviews on it because I didn't open them up when I was at the store this past weekend, but evidently the paper is a little bit more like the old. It's not glossy paper, and they're like, you can. This is solicited for $20, but I know Amazon has them for like $10. Some of them right now, and they're kind of cool. I was curious what you guys thought about the compact version of books, if that was something that would be handy, or it's shrinking down the artwork so it's not really true form. The one I saw was Watchmen was in there, which with those what are they 9-panel grids on there.
Ooh, that would
Yes.
be pretty tiny.
That would
Wouldn't
be
it?
pretty tiny. Was what I was thinking.
So are these manga size then?
Yeah,
basically?
I guess it's pretty much manga size.
Okay, all right. I'm not a fan of that personally because, as Mike knows, I hate anything that's not regular comic book size.
Oh, that's true.
Because that's where all my storage is. That's how I know how to carry things around. I got the bags and the boards for them already. So if it's not regular comic book size, I don't like it. But that being said, it's who knows.
Uh,
I'd rather read it in a trade size than a compact
Yeah.
size myself. So
yeah, I'm not put off completely by it, but I don't know that I'd go out of my way. I guess it's what you just mentioned. It depends on the art and the panel size.
Mhm.
Because I did back in the day, I used to pick up a lot of those digest comics at the grocery
Yeah.
store. You know, they were a good way to get some reprints. They would have the best stories of the year awards, and at least the DC ones. There was a lot of Archie ones as well. So I do have kind of like a soft spot for them, but this is a little bit bigger, so I wouldn't mind checking it out. Maybe if I seen one that I could actually open up and look at.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's all I've
All
got.
right.
So Mike, on page 80,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody didn't actually already own the first appearance of Supergirl,
Oh yeah.
yeah, then they could
I
pick it up
know,
here, right?
I know. I'm still kind of excited about that. I've got the page. I'm gonna buy me one of those showcase, enclosures that you gave me the name of it. I'm gonna order me
Oh, the comic capsules.
Yeah. I'm gonna order me that to put on the wall. So I can just stare at it instead of actually get any work done. So
I don't have anything until Image at this point.
Same.
Okay, Mike, you got anything before Image, which is probably around page 100 and something?
ooh,
108 looks like is where Image starts.
I have something that's right before Image called Stitches, because you know what happened. Who gets stitches, right?
Snitches gets.
Yeah. But I need to do a quick word search, and this is under a banner or publisher I've never heard of, Execution Posse Holdings.
Oh.
It's quite the mouthful.
They are part of Keen Spot,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, is a co-publication with partner Keen Spot.
Oh. Well, I just happened to notice that it was in development. It's called The Stitches, and I don't know the creators. It's 32 pages for $6, but it says in the blurb it's in development with Sony Entertainment, and I don't know if that means it's going to be a movie, if it's going to be a TV show. It sounds like sort of a gang/gangster type adventure, but I just marked it here just in case maybe it was tied to a something that's going to put on the big or the small screen. That's all. Now we can go to Image.
Anybody else want to talk about G.I. Joe?
Why are they rebooting it already?
Well, they're
This
not.
is a
I mean,
little
they're
different, yeah.
okay. Yeah, so they've got a new #1, but they are continuing with Larry Hama's Real American Hero as well. So you're gonna have two G.I. Joe books.
So they haven't done a G.I. Joe book, like a new one, since I was thinking they've done just like different offshoots of like different characters. They haven't done a Joe book, except for
yes.
the,
Okay. So they have. Actually,
Besides
and
the
it's
Legacy
like they continued the original numbering. So that's up to like 3. I thought it was like 317 in this issue.
yeah, that sounds right.
So that means that they've done 301 through 317, I think, because IDW had the license until issue 300. And then now they're starting a second monthly. So you're going to have 2 monthly G.I. Joe books, one titled G.I. Joe, and then the
Okay.
original G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, which is continuing the Larry Hama and is in the 300s numbering.
Gotcha.
So I don't remember what page that's on. I thought it had it in here someplace. Let's see. GG. Yeah, it's on page 80, which would be 80 of the of the Image catalog, which is much higher number wise
Oh, I see.
than the
Yeah, I guess in my head they launched with a G.I. Joe #1 when they did the Transformers #1, but that was like they did a Cobra #1, and then they had a Duke book, and they had the
Yeah.
redhead, whatever her name is, and all that.
Scarlet and
Yeah.
Destro.
Okay.
And,
So they
had
haven't
all
done a
those.
new GI Joe book. This is the first of that, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, but they did
They
continue
continued the legacy
with,
book.
and it was 311. So they've done issues 1 through 11 of the legacy book, and Larry Hama still is the writer on that. So
He's amazing.
Yep. Now, one thing I want to say about that particular book, though, the new G.I. Joe book, because they have some preview pages here. Man, the coloring, it looks so bland to me. I don't know what it is about the
Definitely
coloring, but it's just
a
not.
color style. It's almost watercolory.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not. It's a very limited, color palette. I guess is maybe the best way to describe it.
It's almost like it's got a filter on it
It's-
of some sort.
Yeah. It's odd, and they have those certain panels that kind of change a little bit, but and there's lots of covers for this issue. So, let's see. How about I'm at 150.
I got 140. The Moondogs: The Horizon Experiment one shot. So this is the second one shot that's coming out of this Horizon Experiment, and I don't know anything more about it. The last one was the kind of John Constantine kind of esque book, and this one is following East African werewolves that are living in Miami, and they get caught in some war between humans and werewolves in there. And I maybe I should do a little quick Google search, and it would tell me exactly what's going on. But these one shots for the Horizon Experiment seem to be interesting, and I'm assuming are building towards something.
Right. Yeah, I looked at this and I wanted to mention it, and when I read East African werewolves, I thought, well, that's interesting. And then it said living in Miami, and then I went, I don't know why. I was good with East African werewolves, but not good with them being in Miami. I don't know why. So, but
That's where you draw the
just
line.
changed it for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That reminds me of when they came up with the new Wonder Girl a few years ago, that she was of Brazilian descent, but they based her in Idaho. I'm like, well, why didn't you just put her in Brazil?
Right.
150. You got anything before 150?
No, I'm up to
so.
229 actually.
All right, so they have been reprinting The Walking Dead in color, calling it The Walking Dead Deluxe Editions.
Oh, yeah, it's your
just
favorite ones
Deluxe,
coming out.
excuse me. Yes, and they are now soliciting issue 100, which of course is the spoilers, infamous Negan beating, oh my gosh, I forgot his name
Glenn.
all of a sudden. Glenn, thank you, beating Glenn to death, and this is, for me, this was where this series jumped the shark. I was late getting on to Walking Dead. I was much later than everybody else. Got on it, and then at this point, I read it like maybe one more trade and said it's just nonsense at this point. They didn't end that soon enough for me. But if you want to see that in Glenn's eyeball hanging out of his socket in living color, then you can pick up issue 100 or one of the 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 at least different covers.
And I believe that the 151 solicit, which is also in the book, has a cover with Glenn's eye coming out.
Oh, so you can just really
You
lean
can just
into
really,
it.
absolutely, if that's what you're into.
Nice.
Yeah, that was where it's like the book just became about, let's just show violence as opposed to tell a story. So
Yeah, it's the C
that's where it
cover
lost-
on
that's where it lost me.
101 for Walking Dead Deluxe. The C cover is a nice bulging Glenn eye.
I didn't have this in my notes, but I want to mention 156 unless somebody has something for 156 before 156.
I do not.
Okay, I'm not ordering this for the record, but I remember Von Bode, and I'm probably mispronouncing his last name, from like Epic magazine, which was the Marvel like indie book. So he had some characters, so I recognized this art style. I'm definitely not picking this up because this is the complete Deadbone erotica omnibus, and that's not for me. But I do remember reading Von Bode stuff in Epic, so I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know that I've seen a lot of his stuff reprinted, and I wish I could remember the name of the character. I can't, unfortunately. He had like this white mask. Of course, maybe it was black and white, so maybe it wasn't supposed to be a white mask, but a white mask, and it was. I probably should look that up, but anyway, for fans of Von Bode or Bode or however that is actually pronounced, they have this omnibus coming out. And then I'm good till 264.
I got 216.
Mike?
229.
All right, so Shad, you're
All
up.
right, 216 is the final issue of Universal Monsters Frankenstein, which I plan on definitely reading once it's all done and collected. And I'm curious what they're going to do next, because they've done now the Creature, they've done Frankenstein, and they've done Dracula. So are we going to get Wolfman? Are we going to get Invisible Man? Are we going to get the Bride?
Mummy?
The Mummy?
Mummy?
Mummy would be good.
Yeah.
I bet the Mummy would be.
Mummy would be
yeah.
good. Any of those would be good. So I'm waiting for trades on these, so I'm going to start picking these up in trades.
Yeah.
I did not pull the trigger on the hardcovers, and part of me probably thinks I should have, but I think they're still available. I think the hardcovers are still available to order if you're
okay.
inclined to get the hardcovers as well. So,
and I'm not till 231.
Okay, it's 229. Mad Cave Comics. The Legendary Lynx. I know you all have heard of the Lynx, right?
no.
Yeah, neither have I.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is tongue in cheek or if it is a character that they've resurrected from the past, but it says it's the lost story of Carmen Valdez. It has been found. It's a graphic novel, and it's set in the metafictional world of novelist Alex Segura's LA Times book prize winning novel Secret Identity. And the Lynx is a hero lost to time and seemingly forgotten. So I don't know how much of this is in the story, or if it's, like I said, it's kind of a meta deal. But I like the character name, the Lynx, and you have to give credit where credit is due. Anybody that can pull off a costume, a superhero costume with bell bottoms, that checks a box for me. So, yeah, I don't know. It's on page 229. I'm going to check it out just because it's different enough. And it's a graphic novel, 102 pages for $18.
Okay, so I'm on the website. What website is this? The Popverse. And this is an article from Graham McMillan. So this is from 2023. So it's actually over a year old, this article. Ahead of Saturday's defining syzygy, what's coming up for the Image imprint in 2023. So this is apparently taking longer than it was supposed to. And Beyond panel at WonderCon in California, Popverse can exclusively reveal that the imprint run by former IDW head honcho Chris Ryle will be bringing the legendary Lynx, Segura and Gerald's restoration of a fictional lost 70s superhero strip, to print for the first time following the strip's serialization by digital platform Zestworld. The run will last for 4 issues. So that still doesn't tell us if it's actually a 70s character or not, but it does have some things prior to.
Definitely got the 70s look with the flare bottom pants.
That is for sure. So, all right.
Well, the Alex Segura wrote an actual book called Secret Identity that came out in 2022. And the way that I read it is that there is a character called the Legendary Lynx in that book, and this is like her origin story. So it's a tie-in to this novel that came out a couple years ago.
Okay.
But not in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean it fictionally came out in the 70s.
There, yeah.
Okay.
But
So
not really a
kind
real character that they're bringing from the past.
Oh, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not a real Bronze Age character,
A fictional Bronze Age.
Yeah, wait a minute. That's an oxymoron, isn't it?
I was gonna say it's like Alan Moore said. He goes, "Aren't they all imaginary stories?"
Right, exactly. They're all made up words and they're all imaginary stories.
It's not real. It's fictional.
Yes.
Oh my. Yeah. See, Mike, that was your chance to jump on me right there, and you missed your
Oh,
chance.
sorry.
You know, you could have just laid into me. So I teed one up for you. So
Wasn't paying attention.
I'm still at 264.
All right,
So
I got 231 coming out of Mad Cave. Is Spectrum #1. It's about a girl who meets a spectral creature who controls things through music, which is kind of caught my ear, and invites the girl to come with them as they bring about the end of the world. It's a 6-issue mini series, and just seemed neat. I like anything that kind of can tie into music. The artwork seems interesting, and that concept of kind of going along with a creature that is bringing about the end of the world was just like, all right, I'd be in for 6 issues.
and you got 4 pages of preview art as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that is String #1. And this is about a woman who can see these string connections, actually see visible strings connecting people together. There's let's see, it's the blue string. I have to get the color. The blue string sees sexual partners that each person has had. And the dark black, that's an interesting color. The black string connects murderers and their victims, and sees the future of that. And so she's got this whole thing where she can check on people and see if somebody's been cheating on whatever. That's kind of her gig. And then she finds that there's a dark or a black string connected to her, and she's not sure if she is the murderer or if she is the victim. And so the series kind of follows that. It's a 5-issue, written by Paul Tobin, which I've enjoyed a couple of his books that he's written before. Artist is Carlos Javier Olivares, which I'm not familiar with, but the art looks really good.
Yeah, I almost marked this down as well. It seems pretty interesting. Luckily, she's the only person that can do that, because who would want that kind of information out there?
That's a lot, yeah.
She could make her way with make a lot of money with blackmail. I know
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
Well, that's it. She uses her power as a private
That's
investigator.
right, yeah.
It's what it hinted at.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But she couldn't. She'd have to, just use that as hints, because she couldn't She couldn't use it as evidence. So she has to prove it based on what she knows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I'm not till 264.
That's where I'm at as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Mike, you got anything
I have
before
nothing left
264?
in this book.
Okay.
Or in this.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Shad, I'll let you have 264, and I'll take 265.
Okay, well, I am only talking about 264 because it's Epitaphs from the Abyss #5, and it features a story from one of my favorite comic book writers, Matt Rosenberg, who does What's the Furthest Place from Here. And in a recent interview that I was listening to, he was like, hey, check this out. I wrote a story in there. So nothing's really moved my needle on that book in general, but I might pick up #5 or at least maybe read it digitally and check out Matt Rosenberg's story in there.
So you don't like Matt Rosenberg because of DC versus Vampires?
I actually have started to read DC versus Vampires. I've gotten like halfway through the first issue, and it hasn't. It's not a super easy read to the point where I finished the first issue. But to be fair, he didn't write the first few volumes by himself. He was joined by James Tynion. So
that's what they mentioned in the solicit.
That's what
was
they
DC
were.
versus Vampires. Yeah, they don't say anything about Furthest Place from Here. It's DC versus Vampire.
True.
And for the reason why I'm mentioning this book is because there's also a story by Matt Kent. And what do they mention here? They don't mention Mind Management or Department H. No, they mention Berserker. Yeah, so
It's true.
And the same thing on the next page, 265. You have Cruel Universe #4. Both of these titles are part of the new EC that Oni Press is doing. And Matt Kent also has a story. This time they do mention Mind Management and Berserker, but at least Mind Management got a mention here. So Matt Kent has a story here as well. I haven't picked these up just because I don't want to spend $5 for 8 pages of that particular book that I'm going to be reading. But I hope that I can at least read that story someplace at some point.
I notice it's a cover A is by Greg Smallwood of The Human Target.
Oh, Human Target. Okay.
That's some of the best art I've ever seen in my life. My goodness.
It's good. Yeah. Okay. I'm at 314.
I've got one more book, and it's 274. I was surprised when I was flipping through the book to see a book called Wet Moon, 20th Anniversary Omnibus Collection, Volume 1. Wet Moon is a book that I know because when I first started reading digitally and I got my first Kindle, there were the first couple of issues of Wet Moon were on there for free, and so I was just picking up anything that was free. And it's kind of a day in the life story about this goth girl that's in the Deep South, and just kind of what happens in her day to day. I don't know that I'll pick this up, but I was surprised to see this kind of out, and they're going to collect the entire run of it in 3 omnibus volumes.
Oh, so none of this is original material. It's all from the original.
Correct. Yeah, it's from that run. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, my last thing is from Vault on page 314. So we have Kid Maroon #1. Now, what caught my eye here is it says back in print for the first time in over 75 years. We got a double length first issue, and it's the world's only hard-boiled boy detective. This is completely bizarre, but and it's written by Christopher Cantwell. I have never, if this is legitimately a character that's been around for 75 years, I'm not familiar with Kid Maroon, but there you go. So, and Christopher Cantwell,
he's a good writer.
He's a pretty good writer. So, 44 pages, $5 from Vault.
I love that he's dressed like a detective. He's got the tie and the suspenders. I mean, like an old style, gumshoe. And he's got his slingshot in his right hand.
Slingshot, yeah.
Yeah, there was an article earlier this month of Vault Comics acquires 1940s Kid Maroon licensing rights. So,
wow.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I'm done with next phase.
On to Marvel.
Let's phase into the next thing, yeah.
Okay, now, I did not get a Marvel catalog, so I am just working off of the Pullbox site for Marvel. So, I don't know, do you want to round robin this, or does somebody that has the catalog want to take the lead, or how do we want to do this? So,
yeah, I don't have the catalog either, so, and I've got,
round robin sounds great.
All right. Well, I'm going to go first because the one that I most want to talk about is Kahori, Reshaper of Worlds. Now, this is a character that was introduced in the What If animated series. It also is very quietly a Marvel Voices special. So you have Indigenous American writers, at least some. I don't think they don't give us all of the writers on this. But it does mention that it's an extra special anthology celebrating Indigenous heritage and one of the most exciting characters who emerged from the MCU. I did enjoy this character in the What If animated series, so this will be the first time this character sees a printed comic as well. So, yeah, one shot, I'm in. I think it's a pretty simple pickup, So
cool. I had this flag because I was curious if anybody had any thoughts on it, because I didn't watch the What If with this character in it, and so I was like, the cover of this looks very interesting, and the solicit did, and I was like, I wonder if you guys had thoughts. So that answers my question.
Yes, and the second season is pretty good. If you like the concept of what if, and I'm okay with the multiverse stuff in what if stories. I just don't care for them so much in my big cinematic
agreed yes
movies. So this is its own little thing. So it was good. So it was pretty good. So
cool.
Mike.
Well, I've got West Coast Avengers. I've always had an affinity for West Coast teams, West Coast Titans, West Coast Avengers, and this is a first issue. I don't know if there was a previous iteration recently, but that was maybe ended. But this is written by Jerry Duggan with art by Danny Kim, cover art by Ben Harvey. Iron Man and War Machine have put together a new team of Avengers, one that includes villains seeking a path to redemption. And their case study is Ultron, who seems to be walking the straight and narrow. To me, it just seems, well, isn't that just a matter of programming? But anyway, it's also got one of my favorite Marvel characters, Spider Woman, in it, and also Firestar. And I don't know, it's interesting enough and off the beaten path that I wouldn't mind picking this up.
Why did I think they solicited this last month? I thought we
Yeah,
talked about this last month.
they could have, you know.
I mean, if it could be a resolicit, or was there something else West Coast Avengers last month?
I don't remember.
I don't either. So I just remember you saying previously that West Coast Avengers, you really enjoyed it from a previous.
It probably did, yeah. I mean, because in my mind, I feel like I have, but my mind is a
Well,
is a
no, I mean,
kaleidoscope.
well, maybe there was a one shot or something last
Oh, yeah,
month that had
maybe.
the West Coast, and now they're turning it into a series or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember either.
And even though earlier I said, I'm not a big fan of villains being on superhero teams, it would be interesting to see how they write Ultron here.
yeah,
Since I do have the actual catalog in front of me, it does not say that it was previously solicited.
okay,
Thank you.
maybe
sir.
it was a one shot last month or something.
Yeah, it could be.
So
Mine is the Marvel and Disney What If mini became Captain Marvel #1. So continuing on the little what ifs that I kind of hoped that we would eventually get instead of the covers for Amazing Spider-Man, which we're still getting. And this is exactly like it says. What if Minnie became Captain Marvel? It's set in Duckburg. Pete is the Scorpion in it. It's got all your favorite ducks hanging out with a mouse that's a superhero. The end.
all right, all new Venom #1. So all of the Venom fans, I don't see any of the covers, unfortunately, here for this, but this is written by Al Ewing, and apparently Eddie Brock is no longer the host. Now, maybe Eddie Brock hasn't been the host for a while. I know was Eddie Brock's son for a while. It was I wanted to say Sandman, but that's not right. It was, gosh, who was it that took on the symbiote for a while? It doesn't matter. But the symbiote has bounced around, from here to there, and basically they're teasing. Well, it could be a journalist, it could be a terrorist, it could be the sidekick, it could be the mayor. So there you have it. Al Ewing on the writing helm of that. That's not enough to get me to pick up this book, but Venom fans, pay attention.
Pay attention.
Yeah, Mike.
Okay, well, we'll circle over here to Get Fury. It is basically a collection of the Garth Ennis run on Nick Fury. Well, wait a second. Back up. I don't know if this was all written by him, if this is new material, but it does include a whole lot of Punisher stuff. It's got Punisher Born, Punisher Max, Fury, My War Gone By, and Punisher the Platoon. So I'm not necessarily a big Punisher fan, but I do like Nick Fury, so I don't know. I'm probably going to take a look at this just to see what it's about. But it's a trade, and it's at $18. I don't see how many pages it is, but anyway, that's something I'm going to look at here. It comes out not until January 1st.
It sounds like they're collecting all of the the Garth Ennis Punisher War stuff along with that recent series, because I think Nick Fury shows up in most of those earlier Punisher series by Garth Ennis, because it's kind of like their Vietnam War, if I remember correctly, and they can just kind of lump all that together. Plus, it's all Ennis writing. So
Right. Okay. Sorry, that was a bad review, but that's what I had to
All right.
Are any of these good reviews?
Yeah, it's questionable. My last one is the Star Wars Battle of Jakku. We're ending the Insurgency Rising miniseries with issue 4 and starting the Battle of Jakku. Republic Under Siege #1 and #2 are solicited. I at first was like, well, why don't they just do a new series called Battle of Jakku and just kind of let it run through instead of doing these minis? But it also reminds me a lot of when Dark Horse had the license, and you would see that it's just like 4-issue miniseries after 4-issue miniseries, just back to back to back. So maybe this is their new approach, at least to the story that they're currently taking. And we get at least a teaser on issue 1 that they're going to get help from a fan favorite guest star and ally, which Scott had presumed that maybe it was Dr. Aphra. And they didn't do a very good job of hiding the secret because the cover of issue 2 has Dr. Aphra on it. So has to be, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I read that at first, and I was going, ooh, could it be Mara Jade? And then I saw issue 2, and it's like, no, it's not Mara Jade.
Yeah, I don't even know why they tried to tease that, considering the next page of the solicit is a cover of Dr. Aphra.
Yeah. Laura Kinney, Wolverine #1, written by Erica Schultz, art by Giada Belviso. I'm not familiar with the artist, but Laura Kinney, X-23, getting her own book again in shops in December.
And evidently maybe is going to be a bigger part of the MCU, it seems like.
Ah, okay.
At least that's rumor. I don't know if that's been confirmed.
Okay. I would be okay with that, especially if they're going to. I like the actress, especially in the Logan movie. We didn't get to see a whole lot of her in spoilers in Deadpool versus Wolverine, but we got to see some of her. So yeah.
And she was good in the
I'm done with
the Acolyte, in Star Wars Acolyte too. I enjoyed her in that.
I haven't watched that yet, so I didn't realize she was in it.
She's
Okay,
also
good.
X-23
I was wondering what
in
else
there
she's.
too.
What?
Not really.
Okay, I was gonna say, it's all Disney,
It's
right?
a
So I guess it
crossover.
could
They
be.
threw her in there.
Yeah. I'm done with Marvel. What else you guys got?
I'm done as well.
I got one more. It's Amazing Spider-Man, the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. I don't know if this is a one-shot or what it is because it doesn't have any other, number on it. So I guess it's not part of the main run. But the world has changed, and Doctor Doom is the Sorcerer Supreme. Is that in continuity right now? Is that going on? It sounds familiar.
Doctor Doom is, of course, a magical character. I'm trying to remember. He's there. It's been teased, especially in the Doctor Strange series. There was one where I think it had Doom, Sorcerer Supreme on it. So they've kind of teased that before in the past. I don't know if he was ever. I don't remember him officially being Sorcerer Supreme, but it is something they've hinted around with periodically.
Okay. Well, it seems to be a one-shot, but again, I'm kind of limited. I don't have the Marvel catalog, so I have this very small blurb. But I like Doctor Doom, especially when it's been a while since I've read anything with him. So, and it's kind of timely with the recent announcements of him appearing in the next Avengers movie.
And I'm going to say this now, so hopefully one of the two of you can help me remember that maybe we should do a first 5 Doctor Doom at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
That would be good. Plus, it's not just 5 consecutive issues.
I can tell you the first issue he appeared in because that was one of the questions Eric asked me and I got wrong.
Oh, FF5.
Yeah, I said 3 or 4. I said
yeah.
I can't remember, but I was just one off.
Yeah, well, you probably said 4. 4's Submariner returns to Marvel in the Silver Age.
Yeah.
So, and I believe Doom is 5. So.
Yep. But we weren't playing horseshoes, so close didn't count.
Close didn't count, so. All right, Chad, you got anything else for Marvel? Okay, so we want to round robin the rest of the
sounds good
of the stuffs here. So let's just jump back up to the top. Okay, we've already talked about Image, so Boom. Anybody got anything from Boom?
No boom.
Kaboom! I do. I have something
Okay.
called Blown Away. It's a trade paperback, and I guess this appeared previously in single issues, but it's basically oh yeah, it's collected. It collects 5 issues of individual, the individual
Blow
comic.
Away.
What did I say? Blown Away?
I thought you said Blown because
Okay,
I
maybe I
searched
did.
for Blown and couldn't
Oh,
find it.
sorry, yeah, Blow Away. So, so it's basically a videographer witnesses something and she's not sure about it, not sure if it's a murder. Is the mind playing tricks on her? It's set in the frozen north, and maybe that's where the blowaway comes from. But it seems like a kind of a cool murder mystery, and Zach Thompson is the writer, which I'm pretty familiar with him. I think he's a pretty good writer. So anyway, it caught my eye. I like the look of it on the cover, and it's just a 5 issue trade.
Hey, I'm gonna back up to Image for just a second. I'm gonna put you guys in the hot seat. Last month we did kind of the whatever Diamond had as the gems of the month
yeah.
discussion, right? So there's 2. It looks like here in Image. The first is Hornsby and Halo #1. It's Good versus Evil versus Puberty from the mind of
Yeah.
Peter J. Tomasi.
Yeah.
All right, good. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
It looks good.
No opinion.
Yeah, I seen it. I didn't mark it to talk about, but I seen it and I thought that looked kind of neat. If especially
Okay.
Tomasi was known for his Super Sons run, and I kind of seen
Okay.
where that he could
Yep.
channel some of that for this book.
I'm gonna say thumbs down.
Thumbs down. I'm probably gonna go with Shad on this one. Thumbs down. But I had forgotten that he did the Super Sun stuff, so I guess that makes me a little bit more interested in it than I would have been. But I just don't think I need any more teenage year stories myself. So, all right. The second one from Image that is a gem of the month is, and this one threw me for a loop. It's Rockefellers.
Oh yeah.
As
Oh.
opposed to either Rockefellers or Rocketeer. I don't know if they're just trying to literally go with that one, but this is also Peter J. Tomasi and Francis Manipul. So it's about the picture-perfect 25th century. The Rockefeller family live in a disconnected and emotionally distant existence, discover a terrible secret. In their hands is the fate of humanity. So thumbs up, thumbs down.
Down.
Mike?
Down.
Down,
Way
down.
down.
I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down as well.
That-
I'm not planning on picking that one up.
They threw me off with that name. That's just too cutesy.
All right, and then in Boom, before we get past, I'm sorry, Shad, do you have anything else
Nope.
in Boom?
No boom.
Okay, there's some Booms here. Power Rangers Prime #1. I'll just go ahead and thumbs down on that. I'm not a Power Rangers person myself.
It
Mike?
could have potential. If I were to be a Power Rangers reader, I would definitely pick it up. So a potential thumbs up.
And I said down. Yeah.
Okay, down. All right. Also from Boom, Wind, The Power of the Blood #1 of an 8-issue series written by James Tynion IV. As the final thrilling chapter of Wind takes flight, so this is a continuation of a story. The King's Reign is coming to a close, so apparently this is a series that's been going on before, so we're getting, I guess,
This is the third
last
Yep.
trilogy. Yeah, so we're getting the last of the trilogy here. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up on my side. I've always wanted to read the Wind books, but I didn't really pick it because I haven't read them yet.
I'm going thumbs down at this point. I'm gonna give was it Department of Truth a read, and if I am not impressed by Department of Truth, I'm done with Tanyan. So
I'm reading that finally right now. Department of Truth. I'm on issue 9. And it's after reading, I've been doing a lot of catching up on my reading, and especially the indie stuff. And it was actually he's what really I don't know if I am so much sold on the concept of the Department of Truth as I am on his ability as a writer. So I'm liking it so far, and for that reason, I will give him the benefit of the doubt on Wind and give it a thumbs up.
okay, all right. Anybody got anything from Titan?
Nope.
Okay, so it looks like we got a couple of of Gems of the Month from Titan, the first being Conan the Barbarian, issue number 17. I'm just not a Conan
No.
fan, so I'm going thumbs down. Yeah.
Yeah, down for me as well. I
Same.
did have something from Titan, but I must have accidentally closed it. It was one of those. It was, oh, here it is, Captain America: The First 80 Years.
Oh, okay.
So anybody that likes to collect it probably not for me, but it's it's a big tome of a book. It looks like that's going to give you everything you need to know about the first 80 years of Captain America. I like the cover.
I think that's been unless it's like was hardcover before. Now they're doing trade or something like that. I
Oh.
know that's been available previously.
Oh,
so,
you know what it says? OA, and
Yeah.
that's not the Green Lantern Corps planet, but offered again. OA. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The other gem of the month from Titan is Heatseeker Combustion Gun Honey Series number 1. So this is just another part of the whole Gun Honey, which is just their, I don't know, good girl art story. So this is a definite thumbs down for me. But plus they have multiple nude covers for those who are so inclined.
Well, then it's at least a half thumbs up for me.
Well, I was going to say something.
I know.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
I realized what I set myself up for.
Oh God. Oh Lord. Now everybody's thinking it.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, we didn't say
right.
it. They may be thinking it, but we didn't say it.
right.
So, okay.
Yeah, I'm also. I mean, I seen that it got got a testimonial from, was it Greg Rucka or Ed Brubaker or somebody, because apparently it's somewhat well written, but I'm just not really interested in that kind of book because I'm afraid I'd be a little too distracted and not pay attention to the story. Okay,
You don't want to be too terribly titillated.
No,
is
I
what
don't
you're
want to be.
saying.
Yeah, do not. just let me. I don't want any distractions.
All right, Dynamite. Well, who's got something in Dynamite?
We'll probably talk about DuckTales, I guess. Though I'm not a big
All right.
Duck fan. But they do have DuckTales number 1. Dynamite is continuing with some Disney license. Out of all of the things that the Disney talking animals, ducks were not the ones that really grabbed me too much. But it looks like we're getting Uncle Scrooge, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. The artwork looks very much like they're not trying to do anything stylized or different. They're very much keeping true to the classic animation style or the comic book art that
Barks,
we've seen
Karl
from
Barks.
from that. And it
Or Don Rosa.
yeah, and it seems like they're kind of going off of the Uncle Scrooge telling the kids different stories of his past adventures is kind of what it's based around.
Diamond has the gem of the month.
And there's
I'm not going to pick it up, so I'm going thumbs down. So,
400 covers for it because it's Dynamite, of course. So
Mike, thumbs up, thumbs down
I'd
on
say
DuckTales.
Probably down. Yeah.
All right,
I'll
Chad.
probably read it at some point. So I guess it's a reluctant thumbs up.
Okay. I'm going to assume that nobody wants to talk about Green Hornet Miss Fury number 1, which is also a gem of the month from Dynamite. It's a definite thumbs down for me.
Same,
But
yeah.
I did have it picked. I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize, Mike.
No, you wouldn't have known. I mean, it's Alex Segura again, and I don't know. I've never read a single Green Hornet story, and that character Miss Fury looks a lot like Catwoman. So I don't know, just little pieces like that kind of intrigued me. I'm not sitting there saying, oh yeah, this is something I got to have, but color me interested. So I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Let's see. So I guess at this point, we're just ready to round robin everything else because we're down in the comics and graphic novels section.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So, all right. So who wants to? Michael, let's let you start.
Okay, under Archie Comic Publications, we have Archie. Archie is Mr. Justice. Now, I brought up one of the variant covers that is an homage to Action Comics number 1, and this is I think that back in the day, way back in early Archie Comics, he had some stories as a superhero, I think called Pure Heart, but here he's called Archie, or called Mr. Justice, and he possesses super strength, super speed, invincibility, blah 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 blah. And anyway, he just has adventures, and really, I don't know. I'm just babbling now, but I don't know. I like an homage cover once in a while, so I'll get it for that alone.
Shad?
My book is called Starved Rock #1, and it is from. Oh gosh, I lost my notes already. It's from Blood Moon Comics, which Blood Moon I feel like is always they pull me in, and then their book isn't that great, but so I'm not 100% sure on this, but the idea that it is when a group of hunters accidentally kill a famed local deer. I like the idea of a famed local deer. An ancient deity is awakened, and the only way to survive is to venture deeper into the forest. So it's a kind of a horror book. It's 5 issues. It's probably one of those books where I'd pick up the first issue and kind of make my decision on whether I kept going after I had it in my hand.
Yeah, it's funny. I had that. What's the odds out of a catalog that big that both of us picked something off the wall like this?
Yes,
to talk
it's that
about?
famed local
'Cause
deer. That's what got it.
I guess the reason I picked it was because Starved Rock is a state park in northern Illinois. Beautiful
okay.
state park, and I
That's
thought,
right. Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, okay, so the whole deer head, the deer skull with the antlers, that seems to be something that's overdone. I've read it in different stories. In fact, my friends from Salt Lake City, Andrew Mullen and Chris Hoffman, both they wrote a series of stories called Ruthless, and the antagonist was one of these deer-headed creatures. So
Okay.
anyway, I I don't know. On its face, I probably wouldn't get it, but like I said, it has this wasn't a gem, so we don't have to vote on it, do we?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right,
No.
okay.
No.
But anyway, I flagged it because of the whole Starved Rock thing.
All right. I've got Defiant. It says Volume 1, #1. It's weird that they advertise it as Volume 1, #1. So I guess they do plan to do more in this series. This is from Stranger Comics, which I am not familiar with Stranger Comics as well. But you have someone who's born a slave, basically goes around and steals Confederate ships for the Union, becomes a captain. And what really caught my interest was that it said it's based on historical events. So this is something that I have never heard of this, happening in the Civil War. So that kind of piques my interest just a little bit.
Yeah.
Written by Rob Edwards, art by Sean Damian Hill and Alex Patterson. Cover art, which is really it's solid, by Kanan White. So sometimes these, I just wonder, anytime it says based on, I always harken back to the first episode of the X-Files to say they're based on true events, and it's like, okay, whatever. But I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research to find out how much of this is actually real, because that's pretty interesting to me. So,
Okay.
Mike, back to you.
All right, we're getting into the tomorrows section, and the first one is back issue number 157, which features a tribute to Keith Giffen, one of the most imaginative creators of our time, creator of, not just creator, but he actually created characters like Rocket Raccoon and some of the Ambush Bug and some of the characters in the Justice League. Lobo, he reinvented a lot of characters as well, and just was gone way before his time. So this would be a good issue for someone to pick up. There you have it. First appearance of Lobo. Doesn't look anything like what he grew into.
No, not at all.
What is that, issue
So,
3 of Omega Man?
Omega Man 3, yep. So I just picked that up this last week. So.
Nice.
Shad?
I have Animals #1 from Invader Comics, and I picked this one because it also had a weird dead deer kind of situation. And I was like, all right, I guess it's the theme. It's about a hunter in Olympic National Park that dies from what an eyewitness insists is a long-dead elk coming back to life to exact revenge. And then there's a bear that they actually solicit issue 1 and issue 2 of this, and it's just a 2-issue series. I don't know why they just didn't make it a traded book of 64 books or 64 pages.
I think because issue 1 is a second print, so they're soliciting the second print.
Yeah, you're right.
Of the first issue. Yeah. So that means it went over better than expected if they are going back to print on it.
Good point.
So yeah, so there you go. So it maybe is a
actually be
pretty
good.
popular,
and it's got a spotlight.
May actually, yeah. It just had not a gem of the month though, but I guess that's because it's a
not quite a gem.
It's a reprint. yeah. So, all right, my next thing, because I will talk about Marvel Snap whenever I get the chance. You have from Dark Horse the Art of Marvel Snap hardcover. I am not buying this, but they basically take a lot of artwork from Marvel Comics, but they also have some artwork that is just designed and created specifically for the game. So I'm assuming we're going to see mostly artwork that was created by the game developer and people like Dan Hipp, who I had mentioned earlier in the episode. So it says it's 300 developer selected cards. I'm not buying this, but it is a hardcover, $50 for those who would appreciate Marvel cards and Marvel characters in a slightly different, different style of art, especially like some of the Dan Hipp stuff. So back to you, Mike. And you're going to unmute so we can hear you.
At least you don't have to hear me sigh whenever I realize I'm on mute.
Well, when I get your original recording, we will get that full effect.
Okay. I'm sure that'll be in the outtakes. I was going to say is my last pick is Tomorrow's Publishing. It's comic book creator. Don't know the number here, but it's spotlighting Steve Englehart. Big interview they had with him. Talking a lot about his 70s work, and it's just Englehart's one of my favorite writers from the 70s, along with Len Wein and Jerry Conway. So I think this would be a good one to read.
My last book is from Sumerian Press, and it is Tony Hawk's American Fallout #1. I was a kid that played the Tony Hawk skateboarding games. And this is essentially a version of that, of the skateboarding games. It's set in the not-so-distant future, and there's this kid, and he wants to get into the skateboarding group, but he has to pass these certain challenges to earn their loyalty, which sounds exactly like the video game kind of layout, but in a comic book form. And so I'm kind of here for it. Sumerian is usually has a pretty good book. I like what they put out on a regular basis, so it's a pretty good chance that I'll pick this up.
Shad, were you a skateboarder or just a skateboarder gamer?
I was much better at the video game than on the board, that's for sure.
I would last about 3 seconds if I were to get on a board. So just for the record, I am not a skateboarder. I was just curious. I got a few more things from Keen Spot, so we mentioned them a second time this episode. We have Mark Spears Monsters #2. Of course, Mark Spears was a guest at my convention last year, and his second issue of his series is out. Multiple covers. He's done some recent covers for DC. Has done several covers at Image. For Spawn and some other books. I haven't seen the first issue yet. I ordered a few copies of it. Now, when I went online though, I'm not seeing issue 2 available for order, even though it's solicited here. So if this is a book that you are looking out for, you may have to dig. I don't know if it's past the solicitation or it's going to be solicited again in the future, but I could not track it down to actually place an order for issue 2. So you may need to talk to your comic shop to figure out what's going on with this book. You guys said you were done. Okay, I'll let me rattle off a couple more things here. From games, I kind of like these little escape room games that you can go into like these game and hobby stores and pick up, and it's kind of like solve the puzzle type. Well, they have a couple that are being solicited here from Hasbro that are Clue, Escape, and Solve. And the first one is Robbery at the Museum, and the second one is Sabotage on the High Seas. So basically, in these, you're given a puzzle, a series of puzzles you got to try to work through to escape the boat or escape whatever, solve the murder. And this one is actually playable for 1 to 6 players. So both of those. So those are just some Clue, Escape, and Solve games. I'm going to mention this one. We talked about this once before, and that is Centralia, the hardcover. It's from Living the Line, and the only reason that I'm mentioning this is that there is a town about 90 minutes north of here that is Centralia, is the name of the town. I'm certain this has nothing to do with the town of Centralia, but it has caught my eye because of the word Centralia. And I think that is everything. All right, I forgot to do this last month. So, Mike, what book here are you particularly looking forward to in this month's catalog?
Well, you guys could both guess probably. It's Justice League Unlimited. Yeah,
All right.
easily.
Shad, you have a
Yeah,
answer for that question
absolutely.
as well?
I think that Spectrum book out of Mad Cave about the girl who meets the spectral creature and they go through the end of the world. That seems probably the most interesting to me.
I think I'm going to go with Batgirl #1 out of this catalog. Again, Cassandra Cain's my favorite Batgirl, so I am interested to see what they do in this series with these characters. Okay, Mike, you have an investment pick you want to stick out there just for the sake of argument?
I think the Legendary Lynx is going to be gangbusters. No, not really. I actually marked down because you brought it up. Detective 1091 has a new villain, so maybe it will be the next Riddler, or the next Scarecrow, or the next Joker. Who knows?
It's more likely to be the next Zaz, I would say. So.
Yeah, it's a serial killer, isn't it? Yeah.
Shad, you got an investment pick?
If there was anything I would pick as an investment, it's probably that Kahori book from Marvel. That seemed to be the one that could catch on a little bit more and be a little bit bigger.
And I'm going to second that. The Kahori Reshaper of Worlds book is my pick as well. If you're going to buy one and put it back, to me that's probably the best choice. All right. So, Mike, besides, oh, wait a second. I almost jumped the gun there, didn't I? Shad, what do we have coming up in episode 193?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot. It's the first 5 of Zatanna.
Zatanna.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
we're going through that, and then we're going to be catching up on what we've been reading, as well as
Awesome.
some trivia and some shaken, some CLZs, all that good stuff.
We'll see. Yeah. All right. And Mike, if somebody wanted to reach out to you besides podcasts at birdcomics.com, how could they do that?
Well, if they wanted to, they would be the second. That's right, the second person to email me at mike@comicshoproadshow.com. And you can also find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, or you can always touch base with any of us on the Campus Comics Facebook page.
And one more time about your interview with you and Eric?
Yes. Look up the Longbox review. I don't have my phone open to exactly what episode it is, but it is the most recent one. It came out maybe a week ago. But Eric interviewed me, and we talked about Campus Comics. We talked about the Roadshow and other fun stuff. He stumped me on some trivia, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Shad, what about you?
You can find me at shadschubert.com. That's SHAADSCHUBERT.com. Links to all my stuff. Especially want to focus on the new release that I have with my band Shad and Thomas. It's called More of Us, and it is on all streaming platforms.
And I'm Scott Reed, and I'll just throw out there that my Marvel Snap collection level is 16,356, which means absolutely nothing to anybody who doesn't play Marvel Snap. But you can also find me at burgcomics.com, BURGcomics.com, with links to social media and eBay store and Facebook page. And we'll be back soon with episode 193.
Except for Fridays, yeah. So Friday, right? I mean, I don't have any plans right now on Friday. I need to get over to the shop anyway and pick up something from Mike. Okay. I'm not. And then so I mean, that would work for me. Okay. Probably Friday. Okay. Yeah. So if you let me know when you're for sure going, and I'll go from there. So okay. I might be open on Friday to come say we can maybe try it at lunchtime. And, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. Grab something. Yeah. I'll bring some bologna sandwiches. There you go. Yeah. Fried bologna. I can make it. Yeah, certainly. Absolutely. Yeah. You can keep your bologna. Yeah, I'm not a bologna guy.